Welcome to Marshland Histories, Series 2 of the Oral History Podcast, celebrating the Lower Waveney Valley, the people, the places, and the marshes. I'm Dean Parkin, and in the first episode of this series, I've been talking to the Hughes family, George and Jane and their son Stephen, about their life down the Loke in Carlton Colville, setting up a farm with cows and pigs, then building a house on their land and raising a family. Stephen has worked in the village at Stanton's Garage for over 30 years now, and in our conversation, here's his mum, Jane, opening with a recollection of Stephen's childhood.
Stephen was outside all the time. Yeah. He used to come up to the window. Are you all right? I say, yeah. Where are you going? He always wanted to know where I was. Yeah. He did.
I can remember I always used to ask what time he wanted me in by, even like when I was probably 16 or something like that. Because I had that paper round at Jimmy's, to be fair, yeah. I used to have to get there quite early. So I suppose I didn't have a massive involvement in the animal side of things. I just remember being out and about here. I can sort of remember helping more so with like when you were getting straw in and stuff like that, the square bales, like stacking them all in the barn. But then I was as interested in hide and seek and hiding in the barn as well and things like that. But when they harvested the field, which Dad's got part of now, but yeah, I remember going up there watching the combine coming down towards you and the sort of a harvest, and they used to burn the stubble as well. So sometimes for a kid that was a bit of a what's that, treat, but it was something different. I can remember us living in the caravan on the meadow bit there, while this was being built, and sort of hot summers and stuff like that. I can just remember that. But like for Dad, he had to do it like rain or shine. He had no choice. There's no days off.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, really. Well, I always had another job. I either worked nights and done a pig in the morning when I got up when I was down at the fish market, or when I was up at the chicken factory, I never used to go to bed till gone 1 o'clock, I suppose.
He didn't used to come in till 10 o'clock at night sometimes. Come in, have his something to eat, and then go back out welding or whatever he was doing.
Yeah. I went to Pine's Television. I couldn't stick that, making frames up. I went and worked up Frank Cheatham's after that, down the pigs, up at his house. That's how I got to know he. I wanted some pigs myself, and that's what happened. I had the pigs down there on the allotments out the back, and Jane had a pony she used to look after. Met more or less like that, right? Yeah. In the end, we bought this bit of land, and then they didn't want me down there while they were cleaning all the allotments up, and they didn't want pigs down there. So in the end, I run Frank Cheatham up. He offered me this bit here. Lived there in the caravan.
It was £100 wonder, that caravan was. We only got there in 6 months. That's why we ended up there in nearly 2 years. And we didn't have no electric, did we?
First job, when I bought this bit of land, I had the wall put on, that's all we had.
Yeah.
Then we got an electric later on.
Christmas dinner in the caravan with a baby bell. You could have the oven, have one little ring, or you could have 2 rings and not the oven, or you could have just the oven on its own. But the only thing was I actually opened the bedroom door to be able to lift the lid down, for the cooker. But do you know what? And I can say this with all honesty. I loved living in that old caravan. I did. I don't know what it was, but we were very happy in there, weren't we?
Yeah.
We weren't much ones for dressing up all night. We was definitely no holiday. Not for George, bless him. He did have a holiday once. That was 2 days honeymoon up in London. He couldn't wait to get home and see what his pigs were doing.
Now, like stuff I remember was obviously I had my little job sweeping up at the supermarket, which is now obviously long gone and built on. Had my paper round at Jimmy Mitchell's, which is obviously sort of long gone. But I was talking to Richard at the garage today. Yeah. He said, well, it's not changed much. And I went, well, you can't go to the shop there anymore. And you can't go to Carlton Motors anymore. And Carlton Hall's like a whole residential village. There's a bypass running through. Yeah. And he went, and in the end, he goes, well, you've just reamed off about 20 things. And I went, exactly. I said, and that's because it alters like little bits that you don't notice.
And it's become rare to find people like Stephen who still live and work in the village where they were born. George and Jane really did follow their dream of owning their own farm, but it has been a hard life. Their story reminded me of the nursery rhyme, The House That Jack Built, so I decided to write my own version celebrating the Hughes family and their life down the Loke. The house that George built. This is the house that George built. This is the lane called the Loke that leads to the house that George built. This is Jane, who helped feed the pigs in a sty down the Loke, next to the house that George built. These are the kids, brought up by Jane, who helped feed the pigs in a sty down the Loke, next to the house that George built. These are the hours and hours George spent building the farm, where Jane raised the kids and helped feed the pigs in a sty down the Loke next to the house that George built. Here's George and his jobs. He worked round the clock at factory and fish market to buy the land, to spend the hours, to build the farm where Jane raised the kids and helped feed the pigs in a sty down the Loke next to the house that George built. Here's son Stephen, who works at the garage, still lives in the village, got his own family, built his own home on the plot next door, bought by Dad and his jobs. He worked round the clock to buy the land, to spend the hours, to build the farm where Jane raised the kids and helped feed the pigs in a sty down the Loke next to the house where they all still live.